Okay, officially, I want to welcome you to the Career Services Virtual Employer Panel. And we will be talking today about connecting with employers online. Just want to remind you what Career Services does for students. We do provide career advising. We'll help you with your resume, your cover letter. We'll also assist you with mock interviewing, helping you get ready for these great interviews you're going to be able to have. We will help you with career assessment with your Focus 2 assessment. We will also help you with your job search and internship search. Graduate school, and today we'll be doing one of those things, connecting you with employers. Just want to introduce you to some of your career specialists. Depending on your area, every student at the University of Memphis does have a career specialist, and these are your career specialists, and some of them are on the line today. Caitlin Fisher from the main office, myself, Dr. Jada Meeks, the STEM career specialist, Dr. Jamil Major is over communications and humanities, Beth Ann Simpson, the Lambeth campus, Brian Sweeney is over the arts and hospitality and sports management talent community. Fonda Frakia is over healthcare and wellness. Ayana Perkins, education, and Kimberly Brown, social sciences. Okay. And so here are our panelists for today. We are so excited to have them join us. They have taken time out of their work schedule to just give us some information about how to connect with employers online. Chris Allen is with the City of Memphis. He's an interim supervisor of public safety and recruitment. Patrice Berry is an employee recruitment specialist from Port of Leath. Thomas Davis is a chief information security officer with ServiceMaster. Tequa Gray Austin, I probably messed it up. She is the talent acquisition partner from Regional Health One. Tashley Hatton from AutoZone is the University Relations Specialist and Intern Coordinator for AutoZone. We have Major Sergeant Heather Balderrama. We're gonna say Major Sergeant Heather, health professions recruiter from the U.S. Air Force. And then we have Connor Markins. He's the owner at Markins and Associates. And last but not least, Christopher Phillips from he's a healthcare recruiter from WellPath. And so we are so excited that each of them are here with us today. And we have a series of questions we're going to ask our panelists to start off. And we want them to just say hello as they answer the first question. And while they're answering that question, they can also tell us, how long they've been in their industry. So we're gonna go ahead and get started. Our first question is, what tips do you recommend for virtual job interviews? And so we're gonna let our first person answer, which will be Chris Allen.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for allowing us to be present in front of you today and kind of give you some feedback on some things that we see. Starting off with question number one, the advice that I would give to all of the students is be prepared, be present, and be mindful. Be mindful of what you're doing, the time that you're spending, and the jobs that you're researching. Don't discount any employer, especially right now. With times being as tight and as hard as there are some industries that are continuing to hire and be open to those industries and those employers. Consider all opportunities, even if you don't think it's something for you, be at least open to what that recruiter or that professional has to say, and at least write it down for something that you'd be interested in following up with.
Thank you, Chris. Next, we'll have that same answer from Patrice Berry.
Hello, everyone. My name is Patrice Berry, and I have been in human resources for the past 6 years. To piggyback off of what Chris said, I would just encourage you that when you are interviewing, to make sure that you have good lighting, also that your background isn't busy, because you want the focus of the interviewer to be on you and not your background. I would also say take the time to go ahead and upload any software that you may be using for that particular interview, so you won't have to rush and do it the day of the interview.
Thank you. And then next we'll have Mr. Did Thomas Davis join the meeting yet?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes. Okay, Thomas, can you answer the question? What tips do you recommend for virtual job interviews?
So I'm Thomas Davis. I guess I've been in IT a little over 20 years now, and I've been with ServiceMaster almost 8. But I mean, the biggest thing for us, honestly, that we've seen over and over is work out the technical details. Get that stuff done before you show up. I mean, so many times it's 15 minutes of, you know, we can't get Teams working, we can't get Zoom working, let's do this, and we, you know, fall back to a phone call or something like that. So I do think video is important. It allows you to connect and get that, you know, up and close personal experience. So that's my opinion.
Thank you. And then Miss Gray Austin.
Hi, my name is Tequa Gray Austin. I've been in human resources for 16 years. 8 of those years have been in healthcare. With the same suggestion of my peers, definitely make sure that your background is not busy. Definitely getting your audio and your video done prior to. That's the lesson that I need to take on today. And then also making sure that you're still professionally dressed. Even though you may be in a home setting with that video interview, you definitely still ensure that you're properly groomed for your interview.
Okay, great. Miss Tashley Hatton.
I echo everyone. Like they said, just make sure your background's not busy. Kind of iron out those technical issues prior to the call. Be in contact. Make sure you have a good way to reach out to your reps if you do experience any technical issues. And also, you know, just be prepared. Just like you would with the in-person interview. Make sure you ask questions. Make sure you're taking notes. Definitely make sure, I think it's sometimes difficult when you're doing a virtual interview to know when that person's wrapped up that question. So rule of thumb, take a moment to pause between the question and response before you, you know, give your answer.
Awesome. Major Sergeant Heather.
Hello, I have been in the Air Force almost 12 years now. Next month, it'll be my little Air Force anniversary. And I was going to say what I think everybody else is going to say, but I'll add to that. It's about the personability as well. So you definitely make sure you're smiling a little bit. I know it's a little awkward being in a different setting, but still smile, focus on the nonverbals, and definitely start thinking about your previous experience so you're prepared to tie that into any kind of critical thinking, what you did to solve it, all of that. The same things as your normal interviews as well.
Thank you. Connor Markins.
Good afternoon, everybody. I've been in financial services industry for about 2 years now. I recently relocated down here to Memphis. And, you know, to piggyback on what the other panelists said, you know, your background's important. Everything, you know, your professionalism is important. But something that I think is truly important as well is to genuinely just not overthink this process. You know, yeah, you want to be prepared. You want to have everything ready to go, but also you can't overthink an interview too much to where you just cripple your ability to be yourself and, you know, let the work that you've put in really shine its light. So what I can say is, you know, do all the preparation, but also just remember, this is an interview. It's just as big of an adjustment for the employer as it is for the applicant. And you've already got the hardest part down by getting the interview in the first place. So now that you've got the interview, prepare accordingly, show up, and just be yourself and let the rest fall into place.
Awesome. And Christopher Phillips.
Hey, this is Chris Chris Phillips. I've been with WellPath about 4 years, and our space is correctional healthcare within state and federal and private prisons. And then previous to that, kind of like Master Sergeant Heather Balderrama there, I was a healthcare recruiter in the Army for many years and retired after 20 about 4 years ago. So just kind of like whatever every other panelist said here, by the time you make it to this, you're already at the interview. So just keep calm, and I would say still maintain eye contact, and you know, be prepared to ask some questions and do the proper steps afterwards to follow up and everything. So don't get too nervous. It's no reason to be nervous over anything.
Right. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
So our next question is your company hiring? And what positions are you hiring for? And are you looking for interns? So I'm going to go the reverse order now. So Chris, you're back up. Christopher Phillips.
All right. So as I was saying, we're in the correctional healthcare space. One of the biggest companies in this arena. We do at any given time we're hiring. We're in about 40 different states. Me particularly, I'm with the Arkansas Department of Corrections now. So we have one of our community corrections centers, which is kind of like a parole violator unit in West Memphis, that I recruit for, as well as in Bricky's, Arkansas, which is about 50 miles from Memphis, is a big maximum security state prison that we require or recruit everything from CNAs to psychiatrists. So typically our biggest need at any given time at either one of those sites is LPNs.
Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And I'm gonna switch it up. Chris Allen.
All right, now I apologize for not properly introducing myself. So I have been in HR for 10 years here with a strong background in recruitment and general HR as well. So I apologize for that. But the city of Memphis is on a brief hiring freeze, obviously, because of COVID and Corona and the safer at home order. So we don't have a ton of openings right now. However, we do have some critical need openings that are open. Right now, those are public safety roles in the form of police recruit roles and paramedic roles. Right now, we do have a few key roles that they're hiring for, but we are on a slight freeze. I have been recommending to all candidates that are interested in the city of Memphis that this is only a temporary hold and that you should visit memphistn.gov for all of our openings, as well as you can fill out what we call an interest card. And once those roles that you're interested in become available, the system will automatically send you an email and invite you to apply. So I do recommend that take a look at memphistn.gov for all of our current and future openings, but we are on a slight or a brief hiring freeze for most of our positions.
Okay. Connor Markins.
So we are at the time, we are hiring entry-level agent positions from where we have recently relocated to Memphis. We are at a little bit of a different timetable, usually with our hiring process. We're having to do obviously everything virtually, but we are able to do all of our training virtually as well. So as of right now, we're hiring entry-level agent positions, and then also we are taking applications for paid student internships. You know, I've been in contact with a couple students already, but you know, this is a really good opportunity as well. You know, if that would be something, you know, we also can work with you guys on, you know, school credits and things like that. So yes, we do promote from within. So we aren't hiring any mid-level management immediately. We promote, you know, everybody starts in our organization, everybody starts at the same position. So, you know, that's basically it for us.
Great. Okay, Patrice Berry.
Yes, we are currently hiring. We are hiring for teacher assistants, teachers for our early Head Start as well as our Head Start, and for our social services department, which we are hiring for residential monitors as well as family service workers.
Great, awesome. Major Sergeant Heather.
Yes, we are. So I'm a recruiter for the Air Force. So we have many jobs, but for the sake of time, I'll only stick to the health professions and line officer jobs that we have. So my main program is nurse court recruiters, but we also are hiring for physician assistants, clinical social workers, clinical psychologists, physical therapy, engineering, any engineering degrees, air battle managers, drone pilots, combat system officers. For your business management and admin degrees, we have some positions for those as well. And then any MCAT interested students applying for medical school, we have scholarships available. And then after your school, you would be a doctor through the Air Force. So we need those as well. But if they're looking for any other information about jobs, definitely look at airforce.com.
Awesome. Ms. Tashley.
Awesome. So right now we do have opportunities within the field, so our stores as well as our distribution centers. We do have a few opportunities within the store support center or our headquarters. So within the corporate office, we are looking for IT professionals. So you'll see it posted as systems engineers or associate systems engineers. We're also looking for AutoZoners for our merchandising department. Within the corporate office. In the stores, you'll see anything from sales associates. We're also looking for managers for our manager and training programs. Within the distribution center, we're looking for individuals for those hourly roles as order pullers as well as supervisor positions. And a few of you have already pretty much saw the news. We did unfortunately make the decision to cancel our summer intern program. Right now we're, for that reason, we're not currently recruiting for 2020 internships, but we are looking to start that process for the 2021 program.
Thank you. So let's see, Ms. Gray Austin.
Hi. So Regional One Health, we are currently hiring for basically clinical roles, clinical being your nursing positions, also as well as those supportive roles as far as like a PTA, someone who has a medical assistant background, and also a nursing assistant background as well. We do have a few supportive roles that are still available, basically within our housekeeping areas. We do have positions in those roles and also in our lab as well. You can also visit regional1health.org to check out all of our opportunities.
Thank you. And last but not least, Thomas at ServiceMaster.
So just looking on the website, I know we have roughly 30 positions in the Memphis area open right now through field operations, marketing, IT, sales. So we have various positions open throughout our business. A lot of it in Terminex, and then I see some in Mary Maids as well. So we do have some openings. We are doing our internship this year. We decided today to move forward with it, but we're going to do it virtually. So we're going to do it remote at this point. And fortunately, we already have a University of Memphis intern on the InfoSec team this year. We're really excited about it. So, but yeah, we typically get 8 to a dozen internships every year. So be on the lookout. I think there's one open right now.
Awesome. Okay, so next question. What are 3 things that you have noticed students are doing well with their online interviews? So we're going to start with Chris Allen.
Online interviews, the students that we have engaged with have done really good. There's some students that are really prepared, and by prepared I mean that they have read up on the role, they've read up on the city, and they understand what this means to their career or the start of their career, and just really kind of going beyond what has become status quo. So we do understand that there's a pandemic going on. We do understand that there's a lot that is not happening, but there's some really creative students out there that are calling, reaching out, emailing, asking for one-on-one appointments just to get information, and that stuff has been really beneficial, and it lets me know that there are some really bright and eager students out there that are interested in roles. Even if they're not open now, they're interested in something.
So while I have you on, I'm gonna go ahead and ask the second part of this question. So what are 3 things students are not doing so well? What should they not do? Just give me one. Just give me one.
One. Okay, so engagement is one that I have seen some students not handle as well.
Mhm.
And we have done here recently, because career fairs have been halted. We've been doing a lot of virtual career fairs and virtual interviews and things of that nature. And sometimes we get to those virtual career fairs and the students are not engaged. They will enter our room, we will speak to them and attempt to engage with them, and they just kind of rudely or abruptly end the conversation or leave, or they found that the opportunity is not of interest to them anymore and they just kind of disconnect. And unfortunately, we've got to be mindful, especially here in Memphis, that we are in a small talent pool, especially for certain skills and backgrounds. And a lot of times people remember your interactions, even if it's just the basics. So please be mindful of your engagement and your interaction. Always be courteous and kind with that person, because they may not be able to help you with that particular position, but they may be able to pass you on to someone that can assist you, or they may be able to make some connections or some introductions that could be beneficial later in life. So I would say the engagement piece is something that some students probably could work on.
Okay, thank you. Patrice Berry, 3 things you've seen students doing well and 1 or 2 that they need to work on.
I'm seeing students still coming to their virtual interviews professionally dressed, asking questions and being present in the interview. One thing that I have noticed is that sometimes when the question is asked, tell me about yourself, it's not necessarily about your family and your pastimes. It's more so what led you to this point? Tell me about your education. Tell me about your experience. Tell me what led you to apply for this particular position that you're applying for.
Okay, great. So next we're gonna have Thomas.
You know, one of the things that I've kind of enjoyed about it is getting to see people be themselves at home, you know, and I think people almost, I think the negative part is people try to be too stiff or almost robotic, you know, as opposed to just being a conversation. But I think, you know, just be yourself, let that show through. And what we found, particularly on the good side as well, is that younger generations are just really good with technology. So, you know, for the most part, they engage pretty well, but that's what I would say.
All right, thank you. Ms. Gray Austin.
Hi. 3 things that we've noticed here when it comes to video interviews. Our students do come with questions. Once with the formal interview has ended, we say, hey, do you have any questions? They have actually a list, which is very good, and it shows they are interested. Also, being professionally dressed, once that actually comes being prepared for the interview. One downside is we do have some candidates that come online and they're not prepared. They're not properly dressed. You can tell they have on a t-shirt with logos or something on the front, and you still have to be mindful this is a professional interview. Even if you just professionally from the waist up, that's all we can see. Definitely take the time to do so.
Thank you, thank you. Okay, Tashley.
Yeah. I think what I've seen students do very well is they're able to, they're doing a really good job communicating prior experiences, whether that be course projects, prior internships, part-time jobs. They're doing a really good job communicating those and tying those experiences into the role that they're applying for. I'm with you. I think Patrice stated that introduce yourself, kind of tell me about yourself. I think that that's just the ideal time for them to give us that elevator pitch. And I've noticed students struggle a little still with selling themselves, giving that overview about where they are, what they're trying to do, and what they're hoping to accomplish. So I definitely think, you know, some additional time on just selling yourself would be helpful for them, especially in the virtual setting, because that's all we have is the, you know, your voice carrying over and your we see you, but we don't necessarily get to look at your resume, get the question, lead you more. It's more restrictive as far as time. So I definitely think if they are more articulate in the way that they communicate about themselves, it'll help them sell virtually.
Thank you, Tashley. If I got a note, students, if you will put your computer in speaker view, if you look at the top right of your screen, you have a gallery view or a speaker view. You want to put it in speaker view so you can see the speaker as they're speaking.
Oh, and I'm sorry.
That's okay.
One of the students, she posted a question in the chat, and she was stating that she was getting conflicting, I guess, responses about that. Tell me about yourself.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's fine. A good mix. I think professional and personal is fine. I think it has to just be relevant. Relevant to the role that you're applying for, relevant to the industry that you're looking to get into. If they ask you about that, they're not. When they say tell you about yourself, they're not necessarily wanting you to kind of walk down memory lane. But if you have a personal experience that ties back, definitely state that. But don't word vomit, during the interview.
Okay. Thank you. Major Sergeant Heather.
So I'm seeing, by the way, I missed this part of the interview. I'm a little new to the health professions part of recruiting. So I don't have a lot of experience. So I asked around my other fellow coworkers what they saw. But since I've been here, I've seen so much professionalism. Everyone's on time, they're smiling, they're motivated. You can tell they're excited about the career field that they chose to go into. And they're getting what is needed in a timely manner for me to move on through the process and schedule some of the interviews that have to be done. I need certain things and they're getting it to me sometimes the next day. They're doing their research. Some negative things that I've seen from other coworkers, because I haven't seen anything negative yet, is the eye contact and nonverbals. They're forgetting about that because all of our interviews, even before all this happened, with our consultants, have always been through the phone and FaceTime. So then eye contact, nonverbals, they're paying attention to that, and they might not, be thinking about that with that kind of interview, but they are. So, and the goals that, when you have that time to tell your goals, make sure it's lining up with what the Air Force can actually provide. If your goal is something way off in left field, that we see that we can't do anything for you, we might think this might not be the best fit. So if you have goals, maybe continue your education, things like that, that we can help you with. Just stick to what we can offer.
Thank you so much. Connor.
So kind of to hit on both sides of this question, something that some of the applicants that I've noticed that are doing really well and some that aren't, it goes both ways. It's just with your social media, because now that things are being done, virtually completely on my end, I'm doing a little bit more research on the applicants virtually, because when they apply for the position, I have their first and last name. I can get, and a lot of the times they're including their social media handles. So, this can give an applicant a big upper hand, or be at a, significant disadvantage before I ever even get to have the interview. So something that I would, say just, because employers are doing so much stuff virtually right now, they're going to do their research. Make sure that you're on point with your social media, because it can either give you a very big advantage or a very big disadvantage, and obviously you want to ride the right side of that spectrum.
Thank you, Connor. Christopher.
All right, some of the things that I see is going well is, like we were talking about earlier, and some other people have mentioned, still trying your best to stay focused on the screen and maintain some eye contact. For us, being a healthcare company, a lot of people that we interview are already in scrubs, which is good because that's what they're going to wear with us anyhow. But I agree with what somebody else said about messy T-shirts or still in their pajamas or something like that. Not necessarily the best outfit to interview in. But I think somebody else mentioned early too about doing some research on the company and the particulars of the positions that they're looking for, and making sure that they're aware of the job description that I have posted out there for it as well. So.
Okay, great. And then our last round robin question that we have gotten in advance is, what tips can you give for connecting with employers and finding opportunities? So how can students in this time while people are working at home find the best way to connect with employers? And we will start with Chris Allen.
The advice that I would give students would be to communicate, explore, and connect. Make your intentions and your desires known via communication when you're speaking to a representative of an organization or a recruiter in general. Explore opportunities, especially those that were not immediately on your radar, and make as many connections as possible, fruitful connections. Don't just go connecting with anyone, but make those connections that are going to help you get to where you want to be and where you need to be. Conversation is free and it does not cost anything. So if someone is willing to take the time to talk to you or allow you to ask them questions, value that. Ask for mentorships from workers or leaders in the field or in organizations that you're trying to enter. So just be out of the box as far as thinking, especially right now. Communicate, explore, and connect.
Okay. I want to say to the students, I know you have questions coming in the chat box. I am going to get to a lot of those, and some of them will be covered before we finish with our pre-prepared questions. So just know we will answer your questions. So, keep putting your questions there and we'll come back to them towards the end. Thank you. Patrice.
I agree. Hello, I agree with Chris. I think that you should use the resources that you had initially prior to the pandemic. Any organizations that you're affiliated with, be it fraternities, sororities, or any business organizations that you are already engaged with on campus. I would also tell you to engage with the recruiters and just email and ask for information about the company. A lot of times recruiters are nice and we will give you that information and we will talk to you and let you know what jobs that we have available and ask you to send us your resume, look over it and tell you what we would suggest you doing as far as working with along in our organization.
Okay. Thomas.
So, I mean, at the end of the day, we're all stuck at home bored. At least I am. I'm lucky enough to have the opportunity to be able to work from home, and in fact, my entire team's remote right now, so it's going pretty well. But social media, LinkedIn, we're doing meetups virtually now. We have a lot of IT groups getting together and doing exactly what we're doing right now. So, part of being on this call is exactly what you should be doing. So, that's what I would say is use the internet where you can. Obviously, we're not going to be getting out, hanging out, or going to meetings or anything, but interact.
Thank you, Miss Gray Austin.
Hi, I definitely agree with what everyone has said. Definitely use your social media. Definitely LinkedIn. By being in recruiting for as long as I have, I've had several candidates to actually reach out to me through LinkedIn and send me an email or just reach out to me directly through my professional email. When you are sending an email, just definitely make sure you hit the spell check button, even though you're asking, hey, do you have any opportunities in your area, or would you mind checking my resume? We're still looking for those errors as well. Make sure if you say that you're detail oriented, that you have no corrections or no grammatical errors on your resume. So definitely do not be afraid or be shy to reach out and just say, hey, I'm actually in the market looking for an opportunity. What suggestion do you have for me?
Thank you. Tashley.
I would say I echo everyone. Kind of do what you're doing now. Definitely stay active. Don't get stagnant. I know you have a lot of time on your hands. Make sure you sign up for those webinars. Make sure that you're reaching out to your career partners within the school to see, if there's any changes with requirements, whether it be with your academics or in regards to internships. Definitely, reach out to your fellow classmates as well. I think that, that those interactions is definitely needed during this time because we're all, for the most part, isolated. So definitely make sure that you're being active on, whether that's LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, whatever it is, just make sure you're being active. A lot of times us employers, we like to see thought leadership. So when I say active, sharing posts, making comments on posts, just being active on those platforms, I think would be helpful during this.
Now, when you say thought leadership, I want to clarify. So you're meaning like they're making posts on professional things that relate to their career, or that someone in the industry is posting and they can repost. Okay, so just make sure they're understanding.
Yeah, I like, so university relations and graduate programs has been around that niche, I guess, of candidates. I look on LinkedIn, but I also look on other platforms, just as we share opportunities on other platforms. Someone mentioned something about social media earlier, but we look on those platforms, and we like to see people that, are very active, meaning they are stating things or sharing, posts or blogs or images to their networks. We like to see people that have influence. That shows to us that they are really good at negotiation. They have a following. They're able to push ideas and push programs. So in this spare time, you have time to really develop your strategy as it relates to those different items. Definitely continue to share those content. And again, it's not just on LinkedIn, which is, professional focus. We also look on other platforms, Facebook groups, Twitter, Instagram. We like to see you being active on those platforms too.
I think this is a good place to interject this question a student put. They said they had deactivated their Facebook account, but somebody else told them that they shouldn't have done that because it looks like suspicious, like they have something to hide, or should it be private? So I'm gonna let the next person jump in, and somebody can jump in on that because that's relating to this connecting online. So Tashley, since you were talking about that, you want to say anything about that? Or
it's not that deep. I think you're thinking too deep, and it's not that deep. We wouldn't look on your profile and see they don't have a picture, or they're not active, and reject you. I think you're thinking too much into that. I think I've seen both cases. I've seen, professional AutoZoners that have a Facebook page. Maybe it's private. Maybe they have, a restriction on who they allow to get on their profile. I've seen other it's wide open. I think, anything that you post out there, I think you have to, be cautious of that, regardless if it's on Facebook, Instagram, regardless of what it is. I think you have to be protective about what you're putting out there, because, if you put it out there, it's public. Employers are able to see that, but I think it's not going to harm you for not having one. I think if you do choose to have one, just make sure it's clean, make sure it's communicating the image that you want to be seen to the public.
Thank you, Tashley. Okay, so Heather.
Okay, so for us, speaking of the Air Force recruiting service, we utilize our airforce.com a lot for applicants to reach us. So they have on there where you can find your recruiter by putting in your zip code and kind of what degree that you have. And then it will give you an email address and a contact number. Now, if you choose to go that route and try to find a recruiter through airforce.com, I would definitely utilize the email first, because the number that's on there is 99% of the time an office number, and we may not have that phone number forwarded to our government cell phones. So, but yes, airforce.com to find us. We're kind of getting with the times and utilizing LinkedIn to do some recruiting as well. But for now, our website is the best.
Thank you. Connor.
So, kind of piggyback off everybody else, the main thing is just making the attempts. You have to make the attempts to contact. If you don't have success on the first try, do a follow-up, okay? But the main thing is, guys, is, you have to, your image has to promote positivity. Nobody wants to hire someone that's negative. Nobody wants, it doesn't matter how skilled you are. It doesn't, people want to work with people that are positive, okay? So, whenever you're thinking, of how you could impress an employer, put yourself in that employer's position and think what they want to see out of an applicant. What would you want to see out of someone that you're hiring, and promote that image, and make attempts, promote positivity, and, like everybody else has said, with times nowadays, we have so many different social media outlets and things to, at our, fingertips to use. It's really easier now than it ever has been. Imagine if this happened in the late 80s or early 90s, people would just be without work and not able to even make connections with employers. So, luckily, at this, day and time, we're able to have these, resources, to our availability. So just take advantage of them, promote positivity, and, like I said, just make attempts.
Thank you, Connor. And Christopher Phillips.
All right. I think what I've been seeing working well is people that contact me prior to applying for positions. They'll go ahead and send me a resume like, hey, I'm interested in this. What do you think? What's a good fit? And kind of working out those details ahead of time. And then that gives me the ability to find another one of our locations that needs that specific position there. So that's working great for us.
Okay, great. We have in the chat, I'm gonna go ahead and ask this one. So there's a student who said they're graduating. And I wanna say congratulations to all of our graduates. We are so proud of you. We know that this is a really difficult or mixed normal time for you, but we wanna say we're proud of you. But they asked, what should students graduating do specifically? What's their next step? What advice do you have for them? And I'm gonna let anyone jump in. I don't know who would like to answer that, not all, but if somebody wants to jump in and answer that.
Hi, this is Tequa. My suggestion would be for students just looking for an opportunity would be remain open, kind of sit back and think about what you want your future to look like, and then set goals. I mean, start off with short-term goals that could lead into possibly long-term goals. If you want to be a nurse, think about what's the next step on getting to be a nurse. If you just graduate and say, okay, I need so many credits to pursue that particular degree. So sit back and think about what you want your career to look like, and then proceed with small goals towards that bigger goal. And remain open. Some positions only are maybe day shift or night shift or weekend positions. Remain open. Everybody wants to maintain a certain lifestyle, or say, hey, I want to travel during the weekends or what have you. But remain open when you're looking for an opportunity. Some hours may be restricted during this time frame, and so just know that this is not going to last. If it's only a night shift position available, then eventually take that night shift, and eventually you can move to another shift. So definitely be open when it comes to hours and remaining flexible.
Awesome. And me not even paying attention, that was actually our next question on the list. So the student who sent that, you're on point. So our next question is, do you think opportunities for employment will be available for students graduating? And I'm gonna give that question to Patrice Berry.
Hello. Yes, I do believe the opportunities will be available for students who are graduating. I think that you shouldn't limit yourself, and you shouldn't overlook a company. Just as long as that company has your career path in mind, and and it's something that you want to do. I remember in 2008, when I graduated from the University of Memphis, it was during the financial crisis. And I graduated with a political science degree. So my thing was that, and I felt bummed out because I didn't think that I would be able to get a job in the field that I wanted to get a job in. But I had to look at different organizations, apply to those organizations, work my way up, and I was able to get to where I wanted to be. I would tell you to look in the public sector as well as the private sector, as well as nonprofits. Those organizations, I know nonprofits are still doing a lot of hiring right now. The money may not be what you want it to be initially, but it will give you a start in the right direction.
Thank you. Our next question is, are employers open to informational interviews right now? That means that can students call you and ask you questions about the career, the profession, what they should do, mentoring opportunities? And I'm gonna give that question to Master Sergeant Heather.
Can you repeat that one more time, ma'am? I'm sorry.
Okay. Are employers open to informational interviews from
yes
right now?
Yes, definitely. So that is actually a part of our process. So the first thing that we want to do is talk to you and make sure you're aware of everything that we have to offer, what benefits are going to tie to your goals, and what lifestyle that you're looking for you and maybe a family. So we're going to start there. The very, very first thing that any Air Force recruiter will do is to do a really quick pre-qualification, and that would take less than maybe 2 minutes, just to make sure there's no major areas where it would disqualify you, so you don't waste any of your time. But then after that, they're going to set up a time where you just get to know one another, and you can pick their brain and even ask questions, maybe personal questions, but professional, so you can see what the Air Force might have offered the recruiter. So we're not just someone just talking the dream and not living it as well. So that's the very first step. We want to make sure people are aware of the Air Force before they commit. It's a really big commitment. It's an honorable commitment, but we don't want to walk you through blindly. So yes, to answer that question.
Okay, thank you so much. And so my next question is, and someone actually had put this in the chat, after an interview, or I'm gonna make this a two-part question. So after an interview and or after a student has reached out to an employer, like a cold call, a cold email or message, when is a good time to follow up? How soon should they follow up with the employer? So the first part is an interview, and then the second part is after trying to make an initial contact. So I'm gonna ask Chris Phillips to answer that.
All right. I'd say after an interview, within 2 or 3 days, follow up. Here lately, some of my hiring managers being in the healthcare space, they're all kind of strung out. So a good follow-up from the candidate actually helps them get back on track. Definitely 2 to 3 days. If they've had a chance to interview, I've seen it work really well to where the person that was interviewed will turn around and email that employer later on that evening and say, hey, thanks for taking the time to meet with me today. And so that just shows that they're hungry and looking for the position. And 2 to 3 days sounds good on my end.
Okay, now what about, let's say this is not an interview, you're reaching to the company or the employer to try to make a contact. And so you've sent an email or a message on LinkedIn and you don't hear anything. How soon should a student try again?
All right. Me personally, I don't mind if I get those every day from somebody, because that keeps me on track too. I don't think there's any, at least from what I've seen, I don't think there's too much. I mean, don't send them an email every 30 minutes or anything. But generally, I would like to think most of people in our position in recruitment we look for communication like that throughout the day, and can respond within 24 hours for sure.
Okay, thank you. So the next question, and I'm kind of combine some of the things the students are saying in the question because it fits here. So many students have had to take a part-time job. Well, let me change that. So many students have a limited experience as they've been a student, but they haven't had an internship. So how do you feel about people who don't have that much experience, and how do they make themselves more marketable if they don't have an internship? And this kind of fits with Tashley's question that you also, I'm gonna also ask about getting a part-time job versus a full-time and all that. So Tashley, I'm gonna wrap that all in your question.
Yeah, I mean, especially with everything's going on, and particular within my my field, you know, working at AutoZone, being a retailer, I think again, we understand that, you know, you might take a job for a paycheck. That's understandable. I think it, you know, if you're looking for something entry level, administrative, whatever it is, I think being able to communicate those experiences, you know, communicating duties, responsibilities within that retail job or within that part-time job, communicating those to those relevant skills that go towards the position that you're applying for. I think that's the essential piece there. Making sure that you understand what's transferable as relates to those part-time jobs. But again, the key word here is relevant. Your resume is your marketing tool. I think you have to make sure that you're demonstrating how you're the best candidate for the job. You know, whether that is you took these part-time jobs just for a paycheck, making sure that you're getting some good experiences. You know, if you're working at a sales counter at AutoZone and you're applying for a, I don't know, a position, IT position, you know, using those experience to go towards that IT role. You know, what technologies did you operate with? You know, did you have to troubleshoot? Really pulling those experiences out to demonstrate that you're the right person for the job. I think if you include it, because I've seen students especially apply for internships, some of them will include it on their resume, some of them will not include it on your resume. I think it's best to include it, whether it's you list it as a true experience or a true job, or if you put it towards the bottom and just put like additional work. Either way it goes, it usually comes up in the interview. You know, I think Christopher, somebody mentioned they like to hear people tell their story, kind of why they got to where they are. I think in that conversation, it's going to come up. You're going to discuss, you know, prior experiences. So I think it's best to go ahead and put it on your resume. It's definitely not going to hurt you.
Okay, thank you, Tashley. Let's see, we actually have 5 minutes left, and if anyone's willing and able to stay, we'll keep going because I know some students wanted to be able to let you see them and let you get a visual that they were here. But we have a few more questions. I think that will address some of the questions that were in the chat room. The question is, I'm gonna jump to this question. What do you say to students that are afraid to connect online with employers that they don't know personally at this time? And I'm gonna ask Chris Allen to answer that.
My suggestion would be to be bold, be open and be innovative. Be bold because this is your career and your dream, so you should be driving towards that. The current pandemic should not stop that passion for this. So continue to be bold, reach out to people, research your industries, research those particular organizations. What are they doing? What is the current climate? Connect with people in that organization, in the field, ask for mentorships, anything that they can give you, those informational interviews, any tips and tricks. Follow the pages of those companies and those organizations, or industry pages that's going to keep you abreast of what's going on, and see if you can get anyone to make some introductions for you. So be bold, set yourself aside. I mean, right now we're doing a lot of stuff digitally, and so a lot of names are falling into a hat, and you don't want to be just a name. So reach out, make those introductions on LinkedIn or those appropriate social media outlets. Or if you know a friend that works as a cashier and you're trying to get to the manager, you know, say, hey, can you make that introduction for me? So just think of ways to get out in front of people. There's a lot of people graduating and a lot of people feel the same way. So just kind of set yourself apart and break yourself out as best you can.
Okay, thank you, thank you. Someone asked, it's in the chat, but it was one of the questions. Should I create an online portfolio to show my projects and my skills? And I'm gonna let Thomas answer that.
Yeah, show off, you know, do everything that you can do, show it, you know, be bold with it, put it out there, you know, because at the end of the day, I mean, you know, I've interviewed 1,000 people in my career, so stand out, you know, and I think that's, you know, that's important to show that you're passionate about what you do and you want to show the value that you can bring. So I love seeing that stuff. You know, we'll even give students or even prospective employees, you know, things to do, like, here, just go solve this, you know, show me that you can do X, Y, and Z. So if you already have evidence of that, that's a huge win. So, and one other thing I wanted to cover too, I think, you know, when we're looking, you know, I look for aptitude and attitude. So I look for people that have the ability to grow and learn and have the attitude to want to. So, you know, people like someone said about positivity, coming to work every day with a good attitude and wanting to learn. I mean, we don't have good days every day, but you know, you just kind of have to keep rolling with it. So.
Thank you, Thomas. Okay, so here's a question. What are some good suggestions for gaining and maintaining mentor contacts during this time? So, you know, you said be bold. So do they just send an email question and just say, hello, my name is, I'm a student here. How do I'd like to speak with you? How do they be, especially for students who've never done that before? So I'm gonna address that to Connor.
Honestly, me personally, if someone wants to come to me, you know, for mentorship in the industry or something like that, I don't like it if they come hesitant. You know, if someone's going to want mentorship and me to pour value into them, I would prefer them to come with value they need from it. You know, questions that they want to get accomplished, what they're going to get out of it, and provide some form of value, because nobody wants to mentor someone if they don't feel that the person they're mentoring is hungry like they were when they started. So, you know, if you really want a mentor to get on your good side and want to pour into you and want to, you know, give you leadership skills and things like that, you need to show, you know, that you're just as bought in and for them to meet you halfway. So, you know, if someone's going to come to me, you know, wanting that kind of stuff, I want them to, you know, bring value to the table and be very clear and upfront with what they need out of me to help me get them to the next level.
Okay, thank you so much. Now, now students have been asking questions about, and I'm gonna say transferable skills. Tashley touched on it a little bit, but it's about suggestions for gaining marketable skills and experience outside of the traditional format. I do know that Thomas kind of put that in a little bit on the chat, but I don't know if everybody saw that. So Thomas, can you talk about how can students gain experience in this time while we're working remote? What can they do?
Well, you know, one thing I can say is that, you know, being as old as I am, this is unprecedented times, but not only what we're dealing with, but from a training perspective and from a growth perspective, I've never seen as much free training as I've seen right now. You know, I was looking on a Reddit thread, reddit.com/r cybersecurity. They have 34 different virtual conferences that are happening. They've got a list of, I think we bought like 20 machine learning books the other day for $8. There's classcentral.com has some things that are free. In the InfoSec world, there's the Pen Tester Academy. They've got like 75% off right now. So, you know, whatever world that you're in and the world you want to grow into, there's a ton of resources out there. If you're in IT and you don't know coding, go learn some coding. If you're in nursing and you don't really understand what's going on with COVID, like literally go learn about infectious disease and how those things work. So again, we're looking for well-rounded people. So if you can show that you've invested in yourself and you've done all these various things, even in these tough times, that's a big win.
Okay, thank you. Now, so there's some questions about how long a resume should be. Should you put everything on it? Should it still be 1 page, 2 pages? Should my LinkedIn have everything? Who would like to answer that?
Hi, this is Tequa. I can answer that. I like for a resume to at least show 10 years of experience. If you have more, that's fine. To me, a resume is pretty much just a builder for the actual interview process. If you have those key experiences on your resume, of course, I'd be interested in speaking with you. And then from there, we could just have a conversation that builds upon your resume. So definitely 1 page, 10 years of experience, if possible, list it. You don't have to list everything. If you have 20 years of experience, just give those last 10, okay? If you don't have any experiences at all, you can say, let me know about your affiliations, what organizations you've been a part of, what volunteer work you've done. So there are different ways to counter that resume if you don't have any experience whatsoever.
So I have finished my pre-prepared questions, and I know I'm gonna stop sharing my screen for just a moment. I know that some of the students would like for you to get a view of who they are. And so you can, if you want to now, students, we're gonna let you open your cameras up. There may be some questions that I didn't answer, and we'll try to give you an opportunity. So students, if you would like to meet visually the panelists, go ahead and you can, I think our co-hosts are gonna have to allow you to show your screen. They turn you off to make sure we were able to see our panelists. So at this time, if you have a burning question that you feel like did not get answered, I'm going to ask you to raise your hand if you know how to do that on, and I'll tell you, you do that by clicking below the, below your participants, and there's a raise your hand button. So if you have, okay. Maya, I see your hand is up.
Hi everyone, my name is Maya. It is spelled M-A-L-L-E. And I'm a graduating PhD, and I studied biology, but really a lot of what I was fascinated by was data analysis and statistics. But I'm coming from academia, and so I was wondering if any of you had experience hiring PhDs and seeing how they did that transition from academia to industry or business.
Yeah. And any of you all can answer that.
I'll speak on it. So obviously, first of all, great experience, great degree. I mean, you're headed where the future is going, and as businesses and everything in the world start. Our whole goal here is to understand data and make decisions off of it. So I would say in general, though, yes. And the biggest thing is that transition into the corporate world. It's, depending on where you land, it's really, really fast paced. So that's what I see a lot of times. People coming from government, people coming from academia, they really, really struggle with the pace of it. So, you have to, to be able to think and set aside time to do those things like you're doing now. But you have to deliver at a pretty a good rate. So that's what I would say.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Thomas.
Thank you, Thomas.
Sajib, you have a question.
Hi, I'm Sajib. I just graduated with my master's in computer science. So my question is, as I'm an international student, so we have 3 years of work permit, but like how the company are dealing with the internationals when those students need visa sponsorship after 1 year or 2.
So who would like to answer that?
I know for AutoZone, just with the constant changes with the, that environment around sponsorship, currently we do not sponsor applicants or AutoZoners within a certain, like an entry level type of opportunity, but we are moving forward for more seasoned applicants as far as sponsoring them for those opportunities.
Okay. Thank you. Jeffrey, you have a question. Jeffrey Black.
Yes. I have a question more about how things are evolving in the corporate world. What I'm wondering is, in the future, can students expect to see more internships that are going to allow for remote work, especially in the technology or statistics fields and things like that? I'm about to start my master's in applied statistics, and I'm wondering what to expect next summer. Am I going to, be able to, should I be open to working remotely? Should that allow me to apply anywhere? Like, should I stay restricted to just jobs here in Memphis if I'm looking at remote jobs? I'm just unclear of how you guys are seeing this. I don't know how I'm seeing it, but I wonder how the business world is seeing it.
I'll jump in again. And you can shut me up, feel free. But to be honest, our world has changed forever. This isn't everyone, my wife is a nurse, my sister's a nurse, so I've got a lot of medical people in my life, and this isn't going away. This isn't the flu. When it gets warm, it's just going to disappear. So we're going to have to adjust to a new normal. And, so yes, you need to look at positions everywhere. Don't consider yourself narrow in that regard, but obviously Memphis, we want you here. That's why I'm here, right? Is to make sure that we help students in the community and help them with their careers in Memphis. But I think what was eye-opening to a lot of people, a lot of companies, and particularly for us, was how quickly we transitioned to a virtual world. We have no one in our corporate office. We have no one in our call centers, and we've been doing that for a month. So now we're looking around going, why are we spending money on all of this, these buildings and all this stuff, when we can just hand out laptops and soft phones and VPN and Teams, and we're rolling. So I think you're going to see more and more virtual work. I think you're going to see more and more virtual companies. It's not going away. It's going to ramp up. And now that COVID's impacted the financials of these companies, they're going to be looking ways to cut anyway. So yeah, get ready.
Okay, thank you, Thomas. Chriselle, I think I said that correctly. You have a question?
Yes, you did say it correctly. Hi, my name is Chriselle. I had a question specifically for Markins, because I am looking for an internship now, and I was just wondering if that internship would take place in the summer, and how would that work with, like, if you have classes in the summer, how would that time free or the hourly work be?
So right now, the intern that I'm currently working with from the University of Memphis, she's using it to take place for one of her classes, which is obviously how we would like, to have it. We want it to benefit, you the most. But, as far as the hours and things like that, we're pretty flexible. We want to make sure that the number one priority for you is graduation, okay? But also we have to make sure that we hold up to our standards as well, to make sure it, it counts properly for the curriculum that you would usually have to hit. So what really, I don't want to take too much time, with everybody, but what we could do is me and you can set up a Zoom call to go over some things and find, the proper amount of hours, that needs done for your courses and things like that. And we would be able to, discuss exact specifics, to meet both sides, meet the standards for both sides.
Gotcha. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, you're welcome.
So there has been a question regarding you all putting the links to your positions. I would love to make sure we get all of your positions posted on Handshake so students can have access to it. But if you have a link right now that you want to share, if you could put that in the chat so that students can go and look at your listed positions. If you want to give your email address, you can do that as well in the chat. So I don't think I have any more questions outstanding. If I have missed your question, students, and you want to make sure I ask it, please do that now. Either put it in the chat or go ahead and make yourself visible and you can ask your question. And I want to thank our panelists. I know we had some advisors on the call. Our career services staff was on the session. And I want to thank everyone for joining us. Our employers, you all have been so valuable. You've given them some great information. I may have missed some students' questions, so we have them, I think we have them recorded. So I may be able to, employers, send you a list of questions and send them out to the students. So thank you all so much. I see Maya has another question. Go ahead, Maya.
I do. I think that we kind of touched on this earlier, where you reached out to a recruiter or a talent acquisition manager for a job maybe before you applied to it. What do you do when you apply to a job and you try to reach out maybe on LinkedIn to one of those talent acquisition managers or recruiters and you don't hear back from them? What's kosher in recruiting world for these companies? Because I'm trying to jump into business world and get into these larger companies, and I know that's very difficult if you don't have a connection. But it seems like sometimes the cold call doesn't work out.
I'll answer it.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was gonna say, I'll tell you my story to ServiceMaster. How about that? That's probably easier. I had been in IT for a long time. I'd gotten out to start my own business. It was not in IT. I wanted to get back in. And so I'd seen, this was in 2012, ServiceMaster was starting a new InfoSec team. So I applied for the position. I knew several people that worked there. I hit every single person up that I knew that worked there, gave them my resume. They went to the hiring manager, gave them my resume. I followed up with HR like once a week, every other day, as much as possible. So I was sending emails, I was sending faxes, LinkedIn requests. I think in the end, the guy was like, I've never been so wore out by anyone in my entire career. I heard your name every single day. So I don't know it works for everyone else, but I'm busy. So I need people to constantly be jabbing me and reminding me to do stuff. So.
Yeah, I'm with you, Thomas. Constant follow-up works the best. Just because we get so kind of wrapped up in just kind of the day-to-day, reaching out to your network, anyone that you know within the organization, making sure that your information is shared from multiple different directions.
And try to connect with people too, you know, like find some personal thing that you can connect on. Hey, did you see the game last night? Or how about the weather? Or what, you know, just things like that to keep the dialogue going too. I know it's stupid, but it works.
Thank you all for that. So we've had some repeat questions. I think some people jumped in later. We did record this session, so students will be able to go back and look at that. Chris, did you want to add anything, Alan, at all?
No, I mean, pretty much what he said is follow up. And as you continue with the progression of follow up, don't become rude or cold. They may be busy, they may be out of the office, or somehow your email fell to the bottom of the pile. So just kind of, again, be bold, be present, be open to communication, and just kind of make sure that you are doing all that you can to drive towards your dream.
Okay. So I want to remind our participants, we are here, our career specialists, to help you connect with these employers. And so if you will, don't forget to make an appointment with us and we'll help you. We are making appointments on Zoom. And so you can make that appointment on Handshake and we can continue the process of helping you connect with employers. Just want to say to all our employers, I know we went over a little bit, but thank you so much. The students had some great questions for you, and I think you all have really been a great help to our students here at the University of Memphis. We appreciate you. We thank you for being available. And if anybody wants to say one last word, every employer one last word before we go. We'll start with Connor and I'll call your name when Connor.
Right. Guys, just to close this out, thank you very much for having me. Like I said, I'm new to the city. I just recently had made the transition down, from, West Virginia. So really looking forward to, growing the relationship with the students at University of Memphis. And, if there's any information that you guys need on our end, please don't hesitate to reach out to me, to my email that I've posted in here. I'm also on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram. So, if you guys need anything at all, just get a hold of me.
Okay. Patrice, I don't know if did we lose Patrice? Okay, we'll go to Thomas.
Yeah, just I'm appreciative to be here today. Thanks for inviting me, Jada. And it was a blast. I really enjoyed connecting with everyone. And if you have questions, I threw it in the chat. You can always reach out. But I know these are difficult times, and then things seem shaky. But we've been through tough things before, and we'll get through this. So just believe in yourself, invest in yourself, and if there's anything that we can do to help, just let us know. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Gray Austin.
Hi, this is Tequa. Thank you so much for having me. I definitely enjoyed it. If you're looking for opportunities within healthcare, definitely check out our website at regional1health.org. Just thank you. And also good luck to you guys.
Thank you. Tashley.
Yeah, thank you everyone for your time. I enjoyed speaking with all of you. Great questions. Feel free to reach out to me. There's the 2-year-old coworker. Feel free to reach out to me via LinkedIn. I've also posted my email there. If you have questions about opportunities within AutoZone or just general questions from intern to career or recent graduate opportunities, definitely don't hesitate to reach out. And again, best of luck to all of you. Just make sure that you stay positive and optimistic about this whole thing. It'll blow over. Everything's going to work out.
Thank you. Heather.
Yes, congratulations again. We are all very excited for each and every one of you. I did put my email address on there. I have a LinkedIn account, but I don't check it as much as that email address. So I don't want to be one of those people you're talking about on the chat, not getting back to you. So just, if you have a question, just email me and I'll get back to you.
All right. Connor. Okay.
I went up first.
Okay. Okay. Christopher.
Hey, thanks for the invite and let me sit on the panel here. And not many of y'all had healthcare related questions, but I did put the link to our website in the chat there. And congratulations to you guys up and coming graduation, and good luck. Happy hunting.
Thank you. Chris Allen, did you get to go? Nope. Okay.
I didn't. First of all, congratulations on getting to this point in your academic career to where you're about to graduate. If you choose to go on and continue an academic coursework, best of luck to you. But again, this is unprecedented times, but it's not something that's going to be hard to navigate. So just again, be mindful, communicate, be intentional with your communication, be bold, and also just be open to everything that is out there. I think Tequa said it earlier, don't discount an employer, just take a look at them. Even if they're not for you, thank them for their time and their information and save that because it could be beneficial in the future.
Well, thank you so much, employers. We really appreciate you. Thank you, students, for being here today. You showed up today. We're very proud of you. Congratulations to all our seniors, and we look forward to seeing you all in an event, a next virtual event, and an appointment. And I'm sure all the employees look forward to hearing from you as well. So you all have a great day. Start connecting with employers online, and we look forward to seeing you with all the success. Thank you so much. Go Tigers.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, you guys.
Bye.
See ya.